Greg, I'm not sure if you still want to come up after what we just discussed, but I'm going to invite Greg McGlynn up, who's actually running for school board in Baldwin. He has some thoughts on perhaps what we can do about that. And I'm not sure, would you like the microphone? Or
no, I speak loud enough. Everyone can hear me, right? All right, I'm just going to give a brief history and background of who I am, where I grew up and all that stuff real quick. I grew up in Baldwin for the past 27 years, 28 years old. I went through the whole public school system through Baldwin from K through 12, so I know it pretty well. Graduated in 2001, joined the Marine Corps after 9/11. I'm still currently in the Marine Corps Reserves. Thank you. What else? Currently at Hofstra University, finishing up 2 more semesters there, and moving on to bigger and better things. Right now, also, I just wanted to briefly say I've been deployed to Iraq, Africa, Senegal, Mozambique, so I've been around the world a couple of times. And yeah. So, just want to go what, at least in Baldwin, what the school board is trying to do and what their plan is and what's playing an important role in my district. The proposed budget for this year is $122 million. Last year it was $116 million. So it's been increased $6 million. And they were talking about contingency plan. Our contingency plan is only about $120 million. Big difference, right? And where are they cutting from? Drops in the ocean. They're cutting from nurses, secretaries, teachers' aides, teachers' assistants, drops in the ocean. And they're not touching the administrational cost. Our superintendent in our district makes roughly over $300,000, probably a little bit more than that. Assistant superintendents, we have 3 of them. 3 that make $170,000 a year. Deans make about $105,000, principals $150,000, and the list goes on and on. But yet we're not cutting anything from any of those administrational costs. We're cutting from the bottom up, not from the top down. That's one thing when I get elected that I'm going to change, and I'm going to say no of. I'm not going to compromise when we're cutting, from things that are very small, minute numbers. Also, I want to go on to talk about the cap at 2% that the state is proposing. I support that 110%. I'd like to see it lower than that, but it's a start. It's a start. 2% is a start. And also, to go off of that, there's also talk about increasing, or talking about also the 2%. What was the other thing?
Superintendent's
There was a 2% cap.
The salaries.
Oh, yes, actually, thank you, Dan. Also, a superintendent's cap of $175,000, which that's also a start. Hey, if someone in Comac is making $500,000, you have in Rockville Center, was it $400,000? A little over?
I can't even keep track with it anymore.
Right.
How many students are in Baldwin right now?
Baldwin, there's about, through all this, I'd say close to 8,000.
How many students when you were 1 year old were there approximately? You look up that stat yet? And
I
in
haven't looked that
comparison, how many students?
I think there were more. There were 12 schools now.
That's what I'm thinking also.
There's only 10
And
schools.
There were
probably
more
half
There's
the
only 9
administration.
schools now.
There were more schools when I went. There were 2 more schools that actually closed down when I was really
And
young.
I bet you there was half
throughout
the number
grammar
of
school.
administrators.
There's only about 5,000.
Same thing in mine areas.
Yeah.
When I went to school, there were 19, now there's 64. And there's less students.
I want to touch on that too. There were 2 schools that closed down. I forget what years exactly, but we had less administrators at that time frame when we had 2 less schools in the district. Yet we have increased that a lot more with that happening. I don't get that. Doesn't make sense.
Just feather that.
And we were talking about how to get people involved. At least where I come from, when I go to the board meetings, there's about maybe a good dozen on an average that are at these meetings, because people either can't make the time frame at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. The board does not advertise itself very well. They don't want you to go there, pretty much. And what I would do about that is, if it has to come out of my own pocket, I would put up, like people were saying, put up flyers at, shopping centers, getting the word out through mailings, whatever it takes. And
Email.
I think that would play.
I found
Yeah,
the
question.
Oceanside, I tried really hard to go to board meetings, but what they do is,
they do all the nonsense so that the real stuff doesn't come till really, really late. And that was the problem. So if anything should be changed, it should be letting the people get up first and speak and putting but they deliberately like delay it so that you're like so tired, because everybody has work the next day, that most people end up leaving, and then that's why no one ever gets up to give any input. You know, that's another thing, maybe they could somehow reverse that. Because they don't really, they do it on purpose, so that people don't go and don't stay, because I gave up after a while.
Well, that's a thought, absolutely, and I agree with that 100%. But like I said, I think getting the word out there on a lot of the important issues, especially the fiscal issues, to our constituents that don't know much about the school board or know what it is, for God's sake, I think will play an important role in one of the first steps in getting that out there. Like you said, whatever it takes, I will get the word out there to all the constituents in Baldwin and all the surrounding areas to let them know what is going on that they don't know about. And we don't even have contact information. We talk about transparency. There's no website you go to contact a board member, no phone number, no email. If you have a concern, if you can't make that one meeting a month at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, you know, who are you going to call? Who are you going to talk to? There's nothing there, and that's one thing I want to open up is the transparency, like being available 24/7, having a website, having Facebook. You know, we have this technology at our hand. Let's use it.
Do they let you videotape the meetings?
That I don't know. I don't see why not, but I've seen people videotape. So yes, they
Put it
do.
on YouTube the next morning. Then people will really see what the hell goes on. They won't like
That's
it.
a good idea.
They won't like it. They'll be furious. They'll try to make a war against it. Say no.
That's a very good idea, actually. I just wanted to talk about the curriculum real quick. Sorry. Curriculum, going off the fiscal issue. Besides bringing our fiscal issue to a more fiscal austerity measure and that trajectory, I want to talk about the curriculum. And we talk about our children. We could cut so much in waste and fraud from the original budget and put that toward more important curriculum, such as STEM fields, which are science, math, technology, engineering, and foreign languages also, which play a pivotal, important role in today's society, in today's globalized world. Countries such as China, Finland, most of the Asian countries, I'm sure, I don't know if anyone saw, a couple months ago they put this out, New York Times, and I believe Newsday, comparing the United States with countries like China, Finland, and Indonesia, and them kicking our butt in a lot of key areas, technology, engineering, science, math. I mean, we are doing horribly in those key areas. And that's one area I would really want to into. And maybe we had an after-school program that focuses on that, whether we had tutoring from colleges or other surrounding districts that would come in where we wouldn't have to pay them. Maybe they could do an internship and teach those subjects that play an important role. And also see if we could talk to legislators and people in the state, if we could look at the curriculum and possibly change those key areas and implement more of them. Also, foreign languages. That's a #1 key thing, at least when I'm going for job interviews. They look at foreign languages. That's one of the main areas they would like people to have. Government jobs, teaching, you need to know a foreign language. A lot of these new high-tech jobs, you need to know a foreign language, and a lot of the kids graduating high school don't know it efficiently enough, and that's because we teach it at a later age. A child's cognitive ability really starts from ages about 2 to 6, 7 years old. So I say let's start teaching them a foreign language in the grammar school from K through 12. You know, let's at least have a start, maybe have a little test try and see how that goes. Let's see. Also, board meetings. I just want to touch base on it and give you an example of what happened at one of the last board meetings I was at, board budget meeting. Talking about how none of these board members have any backbone. They're pretty much puppets of the administration. This one board member, I forget what she was talking about, but she was saying, well, I don't agree with that. I wouldn't necessarily do it that way, saying all this stuff, but then she'll say, well, I'm going to vote for it anyway, so you don't have to worry. Exactly, right, exactly. So it's like, you know, is anyone voicing their opinion or saying anything, or is everyone in agreement with each other? It's like, there's no one that has a different opinion, really. I never see any board member voice any of their opinions or their concerns if it's against the administration or if it's something about the fiscal issue in our community. It's ridiculous.
No backbone.
Exactly, no backbone. Also, I touched on a little bit of everything. Is there anything that anyone wants me to talk about? Any questions I didn't touch on? Yes.
I have a question. I always wonder why with these school boards, why if the budget is defeated, why it is that they're always looking to, that they always take away from the kids like the programs. Why is it that we don't take away from the administrative side? Is that a law? Why is it that way?
Not that I know of.
Because they make the rules.
They,
No, is that the reason? I mean,
Teachers
Who
I
is
really
in control? The teachers
The
union
teachers
is
union are
the
advocates for the
students.
teachers and administration, they're not advocates for your kids.
But how do we get that changed?
You gotta break them.
You gotta break
You
the
have to
unions.
replace the school board. You
Yeah.
have to get your own people, the people that are fiscally responsible into the school board, people that
You gotta get the
understand
With
seniors out and
backbones.
vote.
what
big
money
time.
is. These people don't care. They say it's a blank check, our children, anything for the children, and it's gotta
Well, it
stop.
should be, and they should not be the ones that
Right, but
are
they're not willing to make the
penalized, and not the
sacrifice.
kids.
That's right.
at least on my board, there's no one with backbone. No
Well,
one.
Like that
don't
And it's
think
sad.
I don't think you're different.
Right.
I think that, I mean, I'm from Long Beach, so,
Right.
I think it's the same, except we also have a town or a city that is just like the federal government.
Quick question. Yeah, you're one guy. How many people are on that board, and how are you gonna fight?
5 total.
It's 5.
There are 5. Yeah, but you're only one.
I'm only one, yes.
That's the problem.
Till next year.
There's a process, and you have to slowly get them to take the people
Yeah.
on.
We,
This is the first step.
Right, I ran last year, there were 2 seats open, one for 2 incumbents, and one person who is fiscally responsible and who has took a good stance got elected, and there's one incumbent that just got reelected, so we did get one in there.
So you would have.
So we need 3, basically.
We
Yeah,
need
you
3. It's going to be a...
How many seats are open this year? Just the one?
Just one,
Just
yes.
the one?
Yeah, there were
It's just 1 year away,
there
really.
were 6 candidates running last
And
year,
you're running for that seat?
and there were 2
Yes.
open
And
seats.
how do you get yourself known in Baldwin? I mean, are you letting people know who you
Yeah.
are?
Do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
people
Between-
making phone calls for you?
Yes, phone calls, Facebooking, the social networking has played a big part.
We have,
Fundraising, knocking on doors the old-fashioned way, shopping centers. I mean, we did a little bit of everything. I have a lot of volunteers too, which is pretty good. Last year, it was pretty much me alone. But when you win, you learn nothing. When you lose, you learn a lot. And I learned so much since last year to help me this year.
What I read was on these school board elections, only like 3% of the population votes in them.
yeah.
And the people who are voting are basically teachers and their unions and their
Right.
friends, because no one else cares.
Right?
So you have to get the word out to all the other 97% in your district, or else you're not gonna get in.
At least 4%.
Yeah, you're saying 3%. We're talking
Yeah, all
maybe a
you
couple
need is
thousand people that
4%.
voted last
Yeah.
year.
To go.
Excuse me?
All you need is 4%.
Yeah, but
of
it's
voters
the,
to go.
about saying the only 3% makes up 100% of who's voting.
Yeah,
Right.
but if you get 4% of the other 97.
Like, okay, fine.
We're talking a couple
That's
thousand
what it
people
is.
that come out and vote for the board. And last year, I got 725 votes. The next person who won got 960 votes. So we're talking about a couple hundred votes that can make a huge difference.
You need people to turn
A
out.
couple of hundred. That's it.
Rockville Center, there was uncontested seat this year. They just nominate them, nobody cares, and the woman just introduced herself, and she said she's going to be on the school board when the other person steps down. I don't get the name, but there's no voting. It's a good old boy, they're scratching each other's back. Gotta stop.
Well, it is hard to get people to run because it does,
Yeah, it's a
it is
thankless
very
job.
time consuming, it is thankless, but, it's the future of your town, really relies on it.
That's why Long Island's dying.
Teachers are gonna be very angry at you. and
No,
put tremendous
CSA, I
pressure
don't know
on
if you wanna mention
Right.
it, but.
Yes.
We need to just.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So.
One last-
Any
Yeah,
other
enough
questions?
questions.
One last question?
Yeah, I got here late. Just
Yeah, sure.
Where do you stand on consolidation? And I'm not talking about consolidating school districts, but consolidation of services.
Services within the district, within all the departments.
Maybe within the town, maybe within the county, I'm talking buses, common, things that are common that could wind up costing a particular school district. Has nothing to do with the curriculum, has nothing to do with the teaching, but it's the back office operations.
Right.
That if you wind up consolidating or combining, you can
Right.
hopefully achieve.
That's actually something I brought up last year, and I'm going to continue to bring up this year, is not just consolidating, but merging a lot of departments together. If it's not departments, administration, maybe instead of having 5 deans in one school, we could have 2 deans or 3 deans, or 3 assistant principals in one school. Maybe we could have 2 or 1. But I think that will be a good start, and that's what I did last year and we'll do this year. See where we can merge.
Mention the debate tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, I know we have something else going on tomorrow night, but there's also at 8 o'clock at the district office on Hastings and Baldwin, a forum between myself and the 2 other candidates.
Great, thank you
Ben, we
very
can
much.
get there?
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.